Warning. Alone Against the Static is a horror scenario and explores themes of grief, isolation, relationships, and heartbreak. This is recommended for mature audiences only.
There, standing on the edge of the clearing, is Charlie. Her clothes are flaked with mud and dirt, and there are twigs caught in her hair. But she's here. She's alive. And she's smiling at you. "Honey," she says, "it's okay." You dash across the clearing and cling to Charlie. "Oh my God, I've been so worried." You hold her close against you. If broken heart is checked on the log sheet, your words ring hollow. Uh-oh, that's not good at all. "Really?" Charlie asks. You look up. You feel tears forming in your eyes. "What?" "I don't think you were worried. I didn't think you still cared." Charlie's voice is flat and dull. Her lip is curled in a slight sneer. It doesn't look natural. "Charlie, what are you talking about? You never really thought that coming out here would do anything. You'd already given up." "That's not true," you cry, but deep down you know it is. Charlie doesn't answer you directly. She just gestures with one hand at the clearing that surrounds you. "What do you think is left for us, Alex? Is it even actually worth it, all this?" You can't let Charlie throw everything away. You tried pleading with her. "It is. We have each other. Please, Charlie." Tears stream down your face. Alright. We need to make a hard persuade roll. And that's not a very good skill for us. We're at 50%, so yeah, I don't know if we're gonna make this one. Yeah, failure. 39 versus 25. "It has to be worth it," you say. Please, Charlie. It has to be." Charlie's face remains impassive. Then she shakes her head. "I don't believe you, Alex. But don't worry. You don't need to trust me yet. You will eventually. Let me show you." You can't bring yourself to answer. Your mouth just opens and shuts like a fish's. Charlie watches you for some time, then bows her head. Your heart drops. "I need you, Alex," Charlie's voice says, but this time it comes from behind you. You spin around and see that the man who crawled out of the tent, body unchanged, is now wearing Charlie's face. There's two of them now. They're on either side of you. "I need you like I needed Charlie," they say, and when they speak, their voices merge, overlay, and bleed static. "You're here now. We can be together, we three, we four, all of us. Please, come with me." Alright, we need to make a sanity roll. Alright, we've been pretty good at these so far. 52 versus 60. Let's see what we get. 28 versus 52. Okay, so we got it. So we can either agree or refuse. And I don't think we should agree to anything that's happening right now. I don't know, my instincts are telling me that we should probably get out of here. "No," you say. "I don't want that." "What?" "I don't care what you or anybody else says about the child. I want to go home. I want to leave." You see Charlie's face fall. "I'm sorry, honey. I'm sorry I couldn't make it painless." Charlie's face bulges. Pine needles sprout from her cheeks and emerge, covered in blood. Her mouth opens and a thick fleshy tentacle laced with pale blue veins and coated in saliva unfurls. You hear your partner's voice screaming, "The child is given form. From its flesh emerges a true manifestation." A dozen more voices join the noise. They're laughing, shrieking, and crying. They're chanting something. A name. They repeat it again and again. "Ushtik-ah, Ushtik-ah." Charlie steps closer. Clothing sloughs away from her body as their chest spills over into a sphincter-like maw from which echoes a horde swarming hail of static. Well, we could either run or fight, and you know what? Maybe there's some way that we can save Charlie if we fight her. I'm gonna go ahead and elect to choose to fight. Whatever this thing is, it isn't Charlie. You're pretty sure it might have killed her. Even if it means you end up dead, you refuse to let this monster get away unharmed. As the horrific mutation proceeds, you lunge forward and attack, striking wildly with all your might. Make a fighting brawl roll. Okay. Our brawl is 55, so we do stand some chance, but let's see. 9 versus 55, an extreme success, which I don't think is really going to matter for anything. But still, we succeeded. You land a solid blow right against the monster's face, the face it stole from Charlie. Your strike splits the flesh and it rips away into nothingness. The creature itself is completely unharmed. How could you possibly hurt it? It is an erupting, mutating beast. But in the one moment you strike it, you take back some measure of control. You rip away Charlie's face from it. That simple gesture is enough to make your heart surge with righteous victory. This thing can't take everything from you. You don't hold the beast back for long. It grabs at you with a tentacle that comes whipping at your side. As the tentacles boil and writhe before you, an alien voice resonates in the forest around you.
This is your last chance. Accept the child and be born anew, or reject it and suffer.
Needless to say, I think we're going to refuse the offer. No! You swing at the creature one last time. This time, your strike doesn't connect. Whipping tentacles snap out and catch both your wrists. You struggle against them. A third tentacle rises into the air in front of you. Its tip is sharp. Behind it looms the monster's true form, an amalgamation of indescribable whipping coils of ropey, bark-encrusted flesh. You scream out at the monster. Its one last final yell of defiance. The third tentacle shoots forward and plunges into the center of your chest. The air is driven from your lungs. Blood pours from the wound. Your vision goes gray. You struggle, trying to free your hands once more, but there's no strength left in your arms. The final image you see before everything turns dark is fading, crawling, static. Then, nothing. The end. Well, that is certainly the end for this adventure. And obviously, there are different ways to go about it, some choices that we could have made, maybe some roles that we could have done better on. It's kind of really strange because at this point, I don't know what I'm going to put out. I've actually done 2 different versions of this episode. One literally lasted 5 minutes, which in retrospect, it makes that comment I got from one of the videos, I think the video from before this one, even better because I had no idea. I actually haven't recorded this part yet. So, yeah, I guess it kind of was true. One of the endings that I did record, the very brief one, was a sort of good ending. The other one was a sort of bad ending. And obviously, if you've listened thus far, you're going to figure out which one was which. I would like to thank everybody who took the time to listen to these podcasts. It really does make me feel good knowing that people watch or even comment on them as well. If you would like to support the channel and the podcast, please feel free to give this a thumbs up wherever you happen to be listening from, and drop a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. I would really be interested in hearing about other people's experience with this book. Obviously, if you've been listening, a lot of the stuff has been spoiled for you, but I would still highly recommend going through it on your own if you haven't. And even then, once you go through the whole entire thing, you can go back and, play it again with different options, or maybe playing as the other character. Maybe your roles will be a little bit better, maybe not, and you'll still get different outcomes. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and end Alone Against the Static. Thank you for listening, and I will see you guys in the next video. There, standing on the edge of the clearing, is Charlie. Her clothes are flaked with mud and dirt, and there are twigs caught in her hair. But she's here. She's alive. And she's smiling at you. Honey, she says, it's okay. So we get to either run to Charlie with open arms or we're going to hesitate. And I think in this instance, it's a time to hesitate because, well, I don't even know if this is the real Charlie or not. This could be like a doppelganger situation. But also, if I remember correctly, we're not on good terms with Charlie either. Something in the base of your consciousness is sounding a terrible alarm. But another equally strong part is telling you to run over and embrace the person that you love. If broken heart is checked, the voice telling you to stay isn't loud enough. Alright, and I believe we do have broken heart. So that means we get to flee. Yay. No. You race for the edge of the clearing. You can make it out if you're fast enough. You hear the warped sounds of your partner's voice calling after you, but don't turn to look back. Then you hear heavy slamming footsteps approaching fast. You can't help but look back for a moment. You see that Charlie's body has warped and deformed. Her skin has split and horrid dark branches burst from her flesh. Propelled by those disgusting long tendrils, she surges forward toward you. You turn back and race for the tree line. If you can just get there and break free, you can leave all this behind. Man, well, this definitely took a turn for the worse. Like, I actually thought, well, if this is the real Charlie, I kind of just figured that, she went to town, maybe decided that she's had enough and, stood Alex up. But if this is the real Charlie, then this is kind of messed up. Anyways, we need to make a Dex saving throw. And what would you know? We actually succeeded, a 49 versus 60. You run through the forest. You jump logs, duck under low-hanging branches, deftly avoid the moss-ridden stones. For a while, you hear the sounds of pursuit, but terror, rage, and anguish pushes you to run for far longer than you ever have before. Eventually, the sounds of pursuit fade. You keep running, tears streaming down your face. You run for hours. You only stop when the sun rises. By the light of the new day, you find your way through the trees back to a main road. You walk haggard for hours. Sometime in the mid-afternoon, when the autumn sun is beginning to dip, you are picked up by a passing trucker. He stares at you curiously and asks repeatedly if you are all right. You never answer him. You ask to be dropped in the center of town, but he drops you at the police station. Doesn't matter. It'll do. You head inside. Days pass in a blur of hospital visits, police reports, and soul-sucking interviews with smiling psychologists who assure you they're only there to help. Search teams go into the Black Hills to try and find your partner. They don't find anyone, but you never really thought they would. They do eventually find your car. Even though it has your license plate, the searchers say it can't have been the same vehicle. It was rusted, covered in moss, and looked as though it had been abandoned in the forest for years. You find no reprieve, even in rest. When you sleep, you dream only of the forest, the lonely trees, the wet soil, and the endless night sky. But there's a strange budding warmth in your belly that makes everything seem fine. Somewhere out there is screaming, a chanting, the wind that unsettles the trees. The breeze makes the pine needles dance across the forest floor. Then there's the static, a cacophony of sound running together, blending to create a long, all-encompassing drone. It fills your head, your very being. The static is all. Then, suddenly, the warmth within your stomach explodes. Your flesh tears, yet there's no pain nor blood. You watch in horror as the gnarled branches of some ancient tree emerge from your stomach, all while twisted roots encircle your bones, crushing and cracking them. You try to scream, but only static emerges. As the static fills you and everything around you, the last thing you are aware of is the endless sea of stars above you, the cold stars. Then, darkness.